And it is happy March 31st. We are now officially one quarter of the way through 2026, and hopefully you're at least 25% of your goal for the year. So hang on and make sure that we keep on working toward that. So let's go. Today, guys, um, it's going to be an interesting subject matter today as we discuss code of ethics. And as I kind of promoted, it's a continuation because we talked about other updates to the code of ethics earlier. I believe it was the first of the month, maybe end of February. So this now is really the one where we've got to pay the closest attention to because of, well, this gets into the fair housing, treating everybody the same, on and on and on and on. So let's break in and just hit with where we're going today. So I'm going to give a quick overview of the Code of Ethics again. We're going to take a look at a couple of the specific areas of Article 10, talk about an actual case. And this is where it might get down and dirty for some of us, but and then how's the impact on us? So that's what we're going to hit today. Now, the National Code of Ethics, an overview of it. It is tough. I'll tell you when you look at it and you go, okay, there's all this information in here. Um, how and what is its structure? I happen to be one of the chair people for the professional standards for North Oakland County Board of Realtors. And I got to tell you that every time I get to chair something, I've got to break down what is this particular article. So let's get into and just understand what it's all about. This is, if you will, what makes realtors different from real estate agents. You could be a real estate agent simply by, in the state of Michigan, going out, taking a 40-hour class, passing a test, and paying for the license, putting that license with a licensed Michigan real estate broker. That's how simple it is. So, what separates realtors from real estate agents? It is the code of ethics. So, we have all the things that guide us through the rules, regulations, state of Michigan, all the rules and regulations that guide us through the US of A. But then there's for realtors who are simply this: members of a local, state, and the National Association of Realtors. And we prescribe to and are held to a higher level above and beyond what the state requires, what nationally it is required, because we're self-governed through the code of ethics. By the way, there will be a lot more discipline that comes because of the code of ethics rather than what gets held because of legal issues from state or national issues. So here's the structure of the code of ethics. There is interestingly enough, a preamble to the code of ethics. It's quite long, but the interesting part is it starts with under all is the land. Gee, that's what we sell, guys. We sell the rights to prescribed detailed portions of the land. It makes sense that it would start that way. So once you get past the preamble, there's three parts to it, of which duties to clients and customers, your duties to the public, and your duties to other realtors. So there's those three parts. The next is it's divided into 17 articles underneath each of those three portions. Each article then has what is referred to as the standards of practice. If you've ever said, well, this agent is in violation of the code of ethics, well, the first thing you need to do is to go to the code of ethics. You can find it online and realize which article they may have violated. And then you turn to the standard of practice to get more detail to what specifically they may have violated and under that particular article. Okay? And we have to separate law from the code of ethics. And by the way, morality, moral ethics from the code of ethics. Because there are things that may be morally unethical, but not against the code of ethics. They may say something that they violated in law, but not code of ethics. They may have violated something in the code of ethics, but didn't violate law. Well, let's get into it. So, Article 10 itself. Here's what it says. Realtors shall not deny equal professional services to any person for reasons of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. That's different from the protected classes that we know, both state and nationally. It might coordinate with local ordinances. So, guys, you can get a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be discussing today. Realtors shall not be parties to any plan or agreement to discriminate against a person or persons on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. And you can see that that was amended in January of 23. So we're talking, that's actually been in place for 3 years. Realtors in their employment practices. So if I have any admins who are on or listening, this applies to you because you work for the company, which happens to be a realtor broker. Oh, by the way, if you have non-licensed assistants, this applies to you. Realtors in their real estate employment practices shall not discriminate against any person or persons on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. So if a guy, I'm just going to speak. I may not be politically correct, but I've not been trained in political correctness. But if a biological man comes in dressed as a woman, guess what? You can't discriminate. That's going to be the simplest thing that I can tell you. Okay? So that's Article 10. That's the big picture. What we then have to look at is what are the updates, and this is where now under Article 10, you see here the standard of practice 10-1. So it breaks it down further for specific examples of how you must behave under the Code of Ethics. It says, when involved in the sale or lease of a residence, realtors shall not volunteer information, shall not volunteer information regarding the racial, religious, ethnic composition of any neighborhood. However, realtors may provide other demographic information. Otherwise, you can't violate state or national law. Realtors shall not engage in any activity which may result in panic selling or steering. So this is a minor update that occurred June of last year. Let me see if I can tell you if I got my notes correct with this one. No, that's pretty much it. It's a bit of a real rewrite with 10-1 is the way I'm going to put it. But the key part to this, ethnic, a group who shares a national common origin, ancestry, or cultural heritage. And it's kind of interesting that we even talk about it, but again, I think it's really imperative for us to be aware of what we may not even think about, and yet that could end up as a discrimination issue. We always have to be walking on the eggshell, is the way that I would put it. Let's go to standard of practice 3. Again, this has been out there since January of 23. Most of you, it would be a minor change and you wouldn't even know what it is. Tell you the truth, I can't remember what the basics was, but realtors shall not print, display, or circulate any statement or advertisement with respect to selling or renting of a property that indicates any preference, limitations, or discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. By the way, I'm quite, if I'm correct, the change in January 23 was sexual orientation and gender identity. That was the big addition. This is the one. I don't know if anything will change of this in the future, but it applies to us as realtors. Guys, this is the one that it's the reason we had to have this discussion. Sorry if my skin color keeps changing here. Lighting is really wonderful. Let me read first. Realtors, in their capacity as real estate professionals in association with their real estate business or in their real estate related activities. I want to hit that again. In their capacity as real estate professionals in association with their real estate business or in their real estate related activities. Whoops, lean this way. See this, guys? When I leave my home today, when I leave the home office, just wearing this, I'm in my real estate business. I'm in my real estate activities. Just wearing it. Shall not harass any person or persons based on race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Big changes. And you can see how all of this and how recent it is and how it's changing as the market, our culture, our society changes. As used in Code of Ethics, harassment is unwelcome behavior directed at an individual or group based on one of the, or more of the above protected characteristics, where the purpose or effect of the behavior is to create a hostile, abusive, or intimidating environment which adversely affects their ability to access equal professional services or employment opportunities. November 13th, 20, January of 23. Oh, by the way, adopted, this was new. This was because of social media. So adopted and effective, this was new in November of 2020, amended January of 23, and then amended and effective June 5th of 2025. So it's kind of gotten labeled as the hate speech provision. As it continues on, realtors in their capacity as real estate professionals, oops, I doubled that page, sorry. Let's get into the practical application. And the bottom line is humans are humans. They are all the same. They're all going to have their unique characteristics. And society is giving all of the stuff that we have to take into consideration. There are men, there are women. There are the transsexuals, the gender identity, and all the things that we really don't necessarily like to talk about. And the reason being because, look, you do what you do, I do what I do. We're all the same. We all bleed red. So here's the key. Our money is green. But here's what I want you to take a look at. It doesn't matter what you think. You, well, let me just read here. Do you promote yourself as a realtor? Are you wearing anything that identifies you as a realtor? Have you identified yourself with a real estate company? Have you promoted listings on your personal social media? Have you labeled yourself on your personal social media as a realtor? If you have, you can't give your opinion. Whether you're black or white, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Presbyterian, Catholic, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you believe. You can't talk about it. You can't make comments about it. So here's a case that came out. This is not one that was local. This is one that National Association Realtors had put out. So I'm going to read, and we'll see what discussions come of this. This was a case regarding 10-5, the hate speech that we were just talking about. By the way, they got rid of 10-6. It got combined, put into 10-5 is essentially what happens. So here's what came about. In social media discussions, Realtor A made the following comments. I think black people bring out the worst in us. We always knew, N-word, we're violent. They are not Christian. Oh boy, they brought everything in. And described black protesters as, quote, animals trying to reclaim their territory. A consumer took screenshots of the comments, including Realtor A's name, and filed an ethics complaint alleging a violation of Article 10 as interpreted by Standard Practice 10-5 to the local Association of Realtors. It's the one that we just discussed. So there's the clear common evidence. So it goes to grievance. Grievance, so you know, the grievance committee are the first to see any complaint. The grievance committee looks at only the information that the complainant provides. There is nothing that is presented from the respondent. It is only the complainant. And what the grievance committee does is to say, based upon the information that we have in front of us, provided by this complainant, is there the potential, in this case, Realtor A has violated Article 10 of the Code of Ethics? Not Article 10-5, but Article 10. If they believe, based upon the information provided from the complainant, that there's the potential, it gets forwarded to a hearing panel. Hearing panel is 3 or more individuals, always an odd number, so a decision can be made. Any of the panels that I've sat on from the North Oakland County Board of Realtors has always been a 3-person panel. They then, it's, if you will, those 3 individuals sitting outside of us, the complainant, the respondent. They can bring witnesses, they can bring broker, they can bring their attorney. Well, they go into a session where complainant, I'll give you the short story, presents their case, respondent responds, they question each other. The panel is able to ask any questions after their case has been presented. And then they go into what we call, oh, geez, do I put it in here? So yeah, it's in here. Anyway, it's going to drive me batty. Anyway, executive session, I think, is what we refer to it as, where it's just 3 panelists. And we determine whether or not the person was in violation of that particular article. As it says here, the grievance committee forwarded it. At the hearing, the panel reviewed the evidence presented by the complainant, including screenshots of the comments. Realtor A confirmed she had, in fact, posted the statements, but denied that making the statements interfered in her ability to provide equal professional services to anyone because of their race. If, guys, you're ever in front of a professional hearing, your job is to present why you are not in violation of that particular code of ethics. I can't tell you how often people miss the simplicity of your defense is, here's why I have not violated. Here's what was determined. The hearing panel entered executive session and considered the intended application of Article 10, and is interpreted by Standard Practice 10.5, as noted. The panel concluded that the comments Realtor A posted constituted the use of hate speech and slurs. In their decision, the panel clarified that the public posting of hate speech and disparagement of individuals based on their race reflected discrimination. Realtor A's defense was not accepted by the hearing panel, and she was found in violation of Article 10. So, guys, it was made on her personal, I'd say Facebook. They didn't give the detail, but it was on a personal page. Didn't matter, because on her personal page, she had represented herself, put herself out as a real estate agent. So here's my thoughts, my comments. Free speech As a realtor, we must always be aware of our realtor status and know that our opinions based on any protected class should not be discussed. You shouldn't be talking about people for any reason. But the big addition to it is anything with the LGBTQ, all whatever all the letters are. It's too much at risk for you to offer any opinion, and it doesn't matter. You shouldn't be doing it anyway. For any reason. We're all human. We bleed red, and the money is green. So we know we avoid politics and religion. Many of you can look at my page. I don't put a whole lot out there. If I do anything, I am a Christian. I may say Happy Easter. I may say Merry Christmas. To the same point, Happy Kwanzaa. And all of the other ones that go along with it. But your opinions based upon your religious beliefs, don't go there. Doesn't matter. That's just good business. But now it could cost you through a violation of the Code of Ethics. So, as I wrapped up here, we are all created equal. Love, serve, and treat everyone the same way. That becomes the bottom line. But I really wanted you to just simply know this change to the Code of Ethics. What kind of questions do you guys actually have?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you're in violation of the ethics, what does that mean? Like the agent who was in violation, does she lose her license or does she still keep it?
Well, there's lots of things that can happen. One, if you're found guilty, you're going to pay $250 as a minimum. Typically, in a case like this, there might be a additional penalty of getting some additional education, be it a code of ethics class, revisiting a code of ethics, something of that nature. That's a common one for something like this. Um, there are also times where it could be 500, 1,000, 2,500 repeated violations, things of that nature, could have a further financial penalty. What happens is that once the hearing panel says this individual is guilty of the violation, they make recommendation, and then that is forwarded to the board of directors. Board of directors approves, and you're fined, and whatever the penalty may be with that. But the board of realtors cannot suspend or remove a license. That is a Lara issue. That's a department that has to take care of that. And oh, by the way, there can't be a legal suit and code of ethics or hearing going on with a violation of the code of ethics. It cannot be running congruently. If there's a legal issue, that's going to have to be run first. Marjorie.
So in this case, I was just wondering, after the decision had been made by the administrative board, I'll just
Yep.
call them that.
Professional standards panel.
Right. Does that reflect, like, if somebody looked up her license status, is there anything there that reflects that she's had a complaint or she's in violation or anything of that nature?
The answer would be no. It is in their file through the local association, but it does not go on their record with Lara because, again, there's the separation. We're held to a higher level. So, is gender identity a protected class with the state of Michigan or nationally? So, see, there was not necessary, in this case, it could have. Had somebody filed a suit against her because it was in regard to race, but gender identity still not necessarily protected at a state or national level. So that's where there's got to be that separation. But in this case, she was found guilty on the code of ethics. That's the local, state, national association of realtors. That is on her file locally, but not on the state or national, or excuse me, not on the state level where the license is held. Go ahead, Jason. Throw that out there, whatever you got.
Do you see it?
Didn't see all of it.
So loan officers have to or ask those specific questions as part of the Fannie Mae 1003 loan. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, why? And how is that not discriminate? Like age, there's things that they're able to ask, but I guess it's because the government says they have to. Federally backed loan, yeah. Yep. Interesting, eh?
I always found it uncomfortable to ask those also because they're just
Yeah.
some people would ask, why, yeah, why do you need to know that?
Yeah. Thankfully, we don't have to have that information. You know the most uncomfortable one we've got? Are you a United States resident or citizen? Excuse me. Are you a United States citizen? There's people that don't like to ask that. Well, look, you got to ask. People can own property legally and not be a resident of the United States. They can be here. Well, here, they can be here on a green card. They may have bought a property without a green card. They may have bought a property without. But the bottom line is, if they are not a United States citizen, then the FERPTA things jump in, and there's particular things that have to happen at closing. Well, you listen, we've run into it, and people don't like to find out that 25%, I think is what the number is, 25%, maybe more, is going to be withheld because we didn't know in advance that they were not a citizen of the United States. So that's the most uncomfortable question we got to have, but we do need to make sure that we ask that question. What else you got, guys? Well, I'll tell you what, you guys were a lot easier than when I had to do something like this at the NOCBOR. We did a code of ethics. Here's just one. If we brought up cases and just kind of put together and said, okay, you guys play grievance committee member or professional standards member and said, here's a case, would you determine? Is that something that would be of interest to you? To where you could kind of really discuss and get into it and go, okay. Because I delivered a code of ethics class that way. And frankly, it was a lot of fun because of the great discussion that we do with it and what you learned from it. So, Joe, yeah, go ahead, bud.
For the professional standards board, what qualifies the people to be on that board?
One, they're a licensed real estate agent. Two, that they served 2 years on the grievance committee. Then it makes them eligible to be a member of the professional standards. So, what is an example? If any of you were to have a complaint filed against you, and I were on the grievance committee, I would not be able to be a part of that particular discussion as to whether or not that should be forwarded. Be it Coldwell Banker or Century 21, because it's our company, I would not be able to do that. I'd have to recuse myself. Then, from an aspect of its professional standards, it's this big pool. Well, the reason that they have that is for the same reason, is we have to remain impartial. So like Joe, when you're set and you put 2 years into volunteering on the grievance committee, typically they move those individuals on to the professional standards pool of where it's like, okay, let's get this person. So that it's fairly simple for qualifications as far as being able to chair it. Um, I
Doesn't the grievance committee require 5 years as an active realtor?
I am not sure of that. I know that it was odd for me because I served, I think I did 1 year and then they made me the vice chair. And I'm going, wait a minute, I only served on this 1 year and you want me to vice chair? Yeah, and it was like, yeah, just do it. Well, then I think I served on it for 5, 6 years as the vice chair. And the last my understanding was you could only serve on it for 2 years. So there was a special exception for me and the gentleman who was chair for it. But probably because of that, and they needed, well, being frank, you needed another male because yes, they have to take a look at all of that equality and everything all the way around. So I got elevated to that. But I'm not sure as to the minimum. Here's what I would tell you guys. I think it's important to give back to our organization. And NACBOR is now the largest in the state of Michigan. There's lots more arbitration and ethics hearings because of the size of us now. Jump in, get involved. There are committees that you can take part on. Education is another one that I serve toward. But Joe, if you're interested, let me know. Or I think you're part of GMAR. Call directly, or does anybody know the answer? Is like Jamie on here? Jamie's jumping on every now and then. Jamie Iodice.
I could talk to Jamie and Karen when I'm in.
Yeah, but
next
those
time.
two would definitely know. I'm certain of it. So, yep. What other questions, guys? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up for the day. All right. Well, I hope that you found value in today's session. It is always interesting to get into the detail, but bottom line, guys, again, everybody's the same. Treat them all the same. The money's green, and just be a normal, nice person out on social media and keep your thoughts of politics and religion and race and sex and all the other orientations. And look, it just doesn't matter when you are a realtor. All right. Have a great one. And we all know what to do. Go see people, talk to them. Have a great week.
Thanks, Darwin.
You're welcome.